In this video, I'm going to use the blocks of a game called Jenga. Well, those who know the game, you know how the game goes. The rest is tower built out of blocks. And once it's done, you need to remove parts from it till the moment it collapses. Now here it is, right over here. But besides it, I made another construction. This is from another game. I don't know which game it is, but I made a similar construct, but a smaller one. Now, why did I do this? Because this is what the enemy often does. The enemy, when he comes, he makes sure that his project is seen. He makes sure his project is felt by the people. And he makes sure that his project, let me say like this, you can't miss the project. That's how the enemy works. And when you look at the project, you would think, whoa, oh dear, that's very powerful. And it is powerful, but there's one catch. In the Jenga game, you have to remove parts, so I'm going to attempt it over here, very slowly. There it is. Then later, you do a similar thing right over here. That's how the game goes. Now that's too... Okay. Now why am I using this game as a parable to you? So, okay. I want you to imagine that these individual blocks are small communities, tiny communities like families or clans. And each one of those tiny groups, they have their interests. Because groups have interests, okay? Individual human beings can have friends, but groups have interests. So every group wants to meet their interests. Because within a group you have individual human beings, because the group is a collection of individual human beings, and those individual human beings have needs. So together needs met, they form a group to stand strong together. So now you have all these different groups, and they need to get along. Because if they don't get along, it will be friction. One group smites that group, then that group later smites back, and you'll get violence on and on. Or maybe another group sees what's going on, and that group intervenes, and that may break up in smaller groups, and then it goes on and on again. So reciprocal violence is quite dangerous. So that's why in the world they want to form coalitions between groups. Groups that have similar interests join together to form a unity. Now this unity is based on the shared interest they have. It's not based on emotion. It's not based on well functioning. It's just based on interests. That is what you need to understand. Groups in the world are formed based on avoidance. They want to avoid discomfort or avoid violence or whatever. So there is avoidance. So now you have all those groups who all want to avoid something, and that matches them together. Just because there's a coalition doesn't mean that there's peace. There is harmony because people, they get along in external affairs. But internally, there will still be, how would I say, there will still be friction here and there. So let's check at this Jenga tower here. What you see are many blocks, which are many groups, and they form a static whole. But when you see carefully, two of the groups have been kicked out for some type of reason. So those two are out. Then there's another friction, and hold on, let me see if I Let me see if this is going to work. I'm not sure, but then suddenly, there goes another group. And then, well, another group goes. So groups keep falling out. But because in the bigger picture there's still a tower, people don't notice the danger that's going on. They keep seeing the tower. So because they see the tower, they think it's working. Things will be fine. While in fact, things are falling apart. It's only when one important, I won't say important, but it's only when a fatal conflict comes and an important group leaves that the instability becomes more visible. But even then, as long as you still see a tower, people still believe it's real, it's working. That's how societies are. The misfits or the quote-unquote failures of society are kicked out to protect the picture, because society is as a picture that people project collectively, and everything doesn't match that picture is treated as trash and they're thrown out. But by doing that, they're exposing the defects of this construct. Still, people want to be part of this construct. They'll even fight some of the other groups, not realize that fighting those other groups will eventually backfire onto them. This is how society is. Let's go to this small block over here. It doesn't appear as impressive as this one, but this one is far more stable than this one, because this one has the important groups at the top and the less important ones at the bottom. Now, at the top there are conflicts here and there, but the moment there's a lot of conflict below, as you see, it's becoming dangerous. Now tension is heating up in the society. Now violence is increasing. And before you know it, let me continue. This goes on and on. It all falls. And this falling apart or collapse happens suddenly, like a thief in the night. Folks don't see it coming. Why? Because they were so focused on the tower that was projected onto them instead of paying attention to what they were seeing. Now, God doesn't want us to have this. What God gives is stable. It doesn't need that many building blocks. And it can withstand what comes against it. So what do you prefer? A Tower of Babel that appears impressive, which is powerful, but only the illusion is powerful. But it only covers the discontent and it covers the conflicts. It covers the defects of the population. But sooner or later, the defects will cause the downfall of the tower. It's quite interesting that Christ used the parable of a tower. Also, he said, "Whom of you who wants to build a tower doesn't sit down first to count the cost, whether or not he can complete what he began?" And here's the thing. In the world, societies are often formed without questioning whether it will last or whether it will be beneficial in the long run. Folks just want the construct to be there. So whether the building blocks match together or not isn't really relevant. So that's what happens in the world. They don't sit down and examine everything before they build their societies. Now you have the pagans who think things through, But common folks in general, they don't want to do that. So what's going to happen then? You get it already. The same thing is repeated over and over again. I'm not going to make it that high. Then another conflict. Oh, this one may turn fatal. And before you know, and then it starts all over again. While those that agree with Christ, they may have assaults here and there, but they remain standing. As what do you want to be? As Babylon or as Jerusalem? Be at peace.